Have you ever watched a training session or a race and wondered, how is the snow always that perfect? So hard, so grippy, so consistent, no matter the weather conditions. Well, it's not just luck or good weather. Those perfect conditions don't just happen by themselves. Get ready to dive into the heart of snow preparation. Today, we'll discover the art of watering.
Hey there, glad to see you back. Let's get into it and see what watering is all about. So let's start from the beginning. What exactly is this thing called watering? As the name suggests, it's all about adding water to the snow. So basically when we spray water over the slope and temperatures drop below zero, that water freezes and turns into a solid, icy layer. This process helps make the snow surface harder, more stable, and way more resistant to pressure. Okay, so now you may ask yourself, why is it actually so important that the snow is icy and compact? Professional athletes need this tough, consistent surface to perform at their best. The force they apply with their skis is incredibly high, and an adequate snow surface is key to keep the environment safe and consistent over time. All right, let's get into the details. So, what exactly do we need to know before we start watering a ski slope? Well, there are two key things to always keep in mind. Number one, the weather. Ideally, you'd want a clear day followed by a cold, calm night. But more than anything, you need low temperatures. Without cold, the snow can't absorb the water properly, and instead of bonding into a solid layer, it can form a crust on the surface, which is exactly what we don't want. Number two, always keep in mind that the amount of water you spray will be key for the final result. The more water you use, the denser, harder, and in most cases, slippier the snow will become. Therefore, it's important to plan in advance and define what result you want to achieve. It's always about finding the right balance. Amazing. So let's move on and discover how we can get the water onto the slope. There are two different ways, and each one works a little differently. So yeah, let's start with the most technical one, the high pressure bar method. This is the most advanced method, and when used properly, probably the most effective. With the high pressure bar, water is injected directly into the snowpack through a long metal bar equipped with multiple nozzles. The pressure allows the water to penetrate deeply, from top to bottom, creating a solid, compact, icy base. One major advantage is how evenly the water is distributed across the slope. Thanks to the many nozzles, you get a very consistent result over the entire surface. Another advantage is that this process can be done using a timer, typically with an audio signal, moving the bar down a few centimeters every few beeps. This helps ensure that the amount of water injected is precisely controlled, making the surface dense, grippy, and consistent. But of course, there are downsides too. First, you need more equipment and more people. The bar must be operated carefully by an experienced team. The high pressure can be dangerous if not handled correctly. Another disadvantage? It takes time. High pressure bar watering is a slow process, especially on long or steep slopes. Great, so let's move on to the second technique, the hydrant surface watering. In this case, the water is sprayed directly onto the snow surface using a high-pressure hose connected to a hydrant. The advantage: you need fewer people. Usually a team of 3 is enough to do a good and safe job. One person handles the hose and directs the water. The second person assists him by keeping the hoses in the right position and helping manage the strong pressure forces, so the main operator can work safely and efficiently. And a third person manages the water flow at the hydrant. He needs to pay special attention on the other 2 people. This person is key for safety. If the team loses control of the hose, he should shut it off instantly. This method also requires less gear, and it's usually faster to complete than the high-pressure bar method. But it comes with some trade-offs. Since you're watering from above, it's hard to control exactly how much water hits each spot, which can lead to inconsistent results. Some areas might freeze harder than others. And as the water is not injected directly into the snowpack, there's a real risk it won't penetrate deeply enough. especially if the temperatures are too high or the weather isn't stable. The water might freeze only on the top layer, creating a fragile crust. And that crust can quickly become a serious danger for athletes, breaking under the pressure of the skis. Sometimes, the best results come from combining both techniques. This is often used at World Cup events, when the weather conditions are difficult and a perfect slope is needed. In this case, the slope is first watered with the hydrant to harden the base layer. Then, after a proper freeze, a second pass is done using the high-pressure bar, injecting water deep into the snow. This way, you get the best of both worlds. It takes more time and effort, but when done right, it delivers the best possible conditions. Now, theory is one thing, but in the real world, things get a little more intense. So let's leave the whiteboard behind and take a look at what it actually takes to get a World Cup slope race ready. And what better place to do that than the Gran Risa, one of the most technical and demanding courses on the entire World Cup circuit. It's steep, narrow, and known for its unforgiving terrain, the perfect example of what proper snow preparation really means. To prepare a World Cup slope like the Gran Risa, the snow must reach a specific density of about 550 kilograms per cubic meter. That's more than double the weight of soft, natural snow, which typically comes in around 250 kilograms per cubic meter. Getting there takes an incredible amount of work and water. Around 700,000 liters of water are injected directly into the snowpack. The method? High-pressure injection bars, steel pipes about 5 meters long, with nozzles spaced every 10 centimeters. The water is injected into the snow surface at precise intervals, about 1 injection per square decimeter. On a slope like the Gran Risa, that means making more than 4 million injection holes in total. The result? A compact, durable, and grippy surface, consistent from top to bottom, ready to withstand the pressure of a full World Cup field. Wow, pretty impressive, right? And if you've been paying attention, you probably noticed that many of the key points we discussed earlier were applied perfectly in the Gran Risa example. So that was the big stage. Now, let's shift gears and head to a different kind of slope. We're heading to Gallina, a ski area in the heart of the Dolomites, where a team is about to carry out a hydrant surface watering for training purpose. We'll follow the full process, step by step, together with the crew on the ground, and a mission to prepare the slope for a high-quality training. Let's take a look.
We've already had the slope groomed, and it was already quite moist to begin with. Now we will add a bit more water, and then let it rest for a few days so that the water can penetrate well, and that the snow starts freezing from the surface all the way to the bottom, so that we get a perfect slope at least 40 to 50 centimeters below the surface. It's already the fourth pass, so the base is already quite solid to begin with. Ideal conditions? Always when it's cold. Cold temperatures are key to permit us to water the slope. Otherwise, it can cause significant damage. At the moment, temperatures are dropping for the next few days and weeks, so the conditions should be good. We are also sheltered from the wind here, so we are doing well. It should turn out to be a good job. The amount of water we spray determines the hardness of the slope later. Right now, we are not doing an extreme water. We don't put too much water because during this time of the year, there are also a lot of ski clubs with younger athletes here who don't need to face overly extreme conditions. So we put a little less water on the surface. The more water you put, the more the surface becomes interesting and challenging afterwards. We let it rest for a couple of days now so that everything consolidates right. The water should settle properly so that the moisture can freeze well. When you use the high pressure bars and it's cold, the surface should be ready, basically, by the next day. Using the hydrant, like we do, we keep it resting for a bit longer to be sure we get a nice, solid base.
And that's it. From Alta Badia to Gallina, this is the hidden side of ski racing. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment if you've ever worked on a slope crew yourself. We'd love to hear your story. Catch you in the next one.